All right, you saw I got 4 rows of Salanova planted. We did not have enough Salanova to complete a whole 50-foot row. That's what I had left in a couple trays that I cherry picked that I put in the first tunnel. I don't want to throw those away. You're throwing away money and food, most importantly. So I wanted to make sure I had a place up here. So I went ahead and snuck half a row in, basically half a row in. We'll backfill the rest of the row up with something like spinach or some other type of veggie green going forward. But this is the time, perfect opportunity to talk about how we're going to get water to these things. We're going to talk about drip irrigation. This is just my garden hose coming from my outside water line so I could get water into this tunnel here. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a filter system with a 100 micron filter that is reusable, cleanable, pretty nice unit. Just screws into the bottom of this cup here, and then you are going to have a pressure regulator. My pressure regulator is set to 10 psi. I went above and beyond. I actually bought 2 complete kits. I told her what I was going to do in the future, and she went ahead and made a kit custom for me. I would recommend that you would call your supplier, whoever it may be, talk to them, ask them questions, ask them exactly what your flow rate is. This is what I'm doing. What do you think would work for me? They will answer any questions you have. So it has a pressure regulator, and this is gonna, no matter what your pressure is coming in on your water hose, it's always gonna be 10 psi leaving that. This is going to be your drip tape here. The specific brand of drip tape I use is really not important. There are a handful of companies. I use Toro because that is what came with my kit. The Toro that I have has 2 lines down the center, and my drip emitters are every 12 inches in the middle of that blue line. As long as the blue lines face up, the drip emitters are up. They recommend that you always want to have the drip emitters up. They're either going to be 12 inches spacing or 24 inches. So if it's 24 inches, you put one here, skip this one, and then put the next one, so on, so on, so on. You guys get the gist of that. You're going to need some type of main line here. My kit came with 100 foot of 3/4 inch irrigation line, a garden hose adapter fitting. You're going to have some type of row in for your drip tape, and you're going to have some type of valve system. I know there are 2 types. One of them does not have a valve on it, so it currently runs water. Every time you turn the water on, water is going to run through that system. I wanted something that had a shut-off valve on it because I was doing multiple beds and multiple systems. I may want to water tomatoes today, but not want to water peppers, or vice versa. So this way I can go down my row and I can just turn on and turn off the water to each bed as I see fit, or even each row in each bed. So you're going to have your figure 8. You're going to have this. This is the first thing you want to put on here. And if you notice, that's got the washer in it for your regulator. This is going to be your garden hose adapter, and that is what's going to hook your system to the regulator. Now, I always try to do irrigation on a sunny, bright day. I always like to lay out all my irrigation pipe because this has got a pretty good memory and it's pretty sturdy. Same with the drip tape has got a memory, believe it or not, because it comes on a reel. So it does have a memory. I always try to at least lay it out for a day or 2 days in the sun. I can kind of bend that to where I need to be. We are just going to take the torch here, and we're just going to heat this plastic. We're not going to get crazy. We just want to, that should be good. Yep, so you can still touch it. And we're just going to, oh, you see how easy that is, like butter. And you notice the nipple there on that. Once you see that you know that you have a good seal. So you turn the fitting counterclockwise here. Nice and tight. Pull on it. There you go. Now you've got a worry-free, leak-free fitting. So this plugs into your regulator just like this. And this can go up, down, sideways. It doesn't really matter. I always like to put mine laying down because then it lays flush. You don't have anything as a tripping hazard. So now you've got your irrigation pipe. All right. There we go. Now it's something easy I can work with here. So you want to make sure you put your figure 8 on, because if you don't put your figure 8 on and you crimp the end of this pipe, you're never going to get this on here. This figure 8 is a termination point here. So you've got the end of your hose here. Once you flush the system completely and you have clear water coming out, you need to cap this, because if you don't and run the drip, water is still going to run out of this irrigation line, this main line here. So to help out, we're just going to heat this back up so it'll be easy to bend. Every system is different. I've seen some where they actually had a valve that went in there that you could open and close just like these on the drip line. My system came with what they call figure 8, and that seems to be the most common system for these irrigation lines. See down, that's nice and warm there. So now see, you can bend this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bend this pipe back on itself, and then you're just gonna run it through that figure 8 just like that. And just that little bit of kink right there is going to block that water. Now we need to add the drip tape to your system. So once again, we've got the row start with the valve, and we've got the termination in, and we've got the drip tape. So you want to make sure when you use your drip tape that you cut the end of the drip tape off nice and square. So that's why I like using these scissors instead of a knife, because I can just visually see what I'm doing and cutting that square. You see how that's nice and square right there. So what we need to do is we need to put a hole in this irrigation line, because we've got to pop this in here. We've messed it up. They do make what they call goof plugs that you can go in and snap that in, and that will seal that hole, and then you can find where you need to go, readjust it, and then pop another hole. But for this services here, I've got this laid down. I want to put a hole right there. So you just run your tool until you hear it pop. Hear it pop. Now you can put your row start in it. Your row start is going to be the same way. You're going to have clockwise and counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is going to tighten this up against the fitting here. This is kind of a hard part here. So like I said, we're just going to heat that plastic up a little bit to make it easier, since it is cool outside. But when it's hot outside, this goes in like butter. Okay, see how easy that was? I push it in, and then I like to pull it tight up against that. And then I like to turn my fitting. If you go counterclockwise, it actually pulls that fitting nice and tight up against that irrigation line. You see that? And it opens that gap up. Has the same type of nipple into your drip tape here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this drip tape on. So it's nice flush cut. Insert that drip tape onto the nipple. Just push. You don't have to push hard. I'm just barely pushing, and it's up, and push it until it stops. You can feel that. And then go counterclockwise with the fitting. There you go. That's all it is. Nice and tight. See that? Nice and tight up against that. Same concept here. You just put this on, push it up until it stops, and you can see this has got a double barb system right here. Push it on until it stops. There you go. Now you've got a nice terminated end. And the cool thing I like about these is it also has a ring on it. So when you go to put your drip tape in, you can actually run a landscaping fabric staple through it, and that will hold that drip tape from flopping around. All right, I hope this helps you out. Now that you've got the basic concept behind it, go get you some drip tape, set it up, get your garden plumbed up, and just get to growing something. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to get the irrigation set up now so I can actually water those 4 rows of Salanova there. Until next week, guys, I'll see you later. Get it done. Bye.